Are you all interested in keeping a pond outside, but maybe nervous about what you'll need in order to do so? Well, in today's video, I'm gonna give you 5 quick things that you will need to know about a pond to keep it outside and make it thrive. Let's get into it. All right, well, before I go into the 5 things that you will need in order to have a pond outside year round, I'm gonna go over what's in each of my ponds because they're both a little bit particular, but both about the same in terms of what you need, at least. This pond houses my red-tailed catfish, which is hanging out right down there. I have an Oscar, which is back there. There's actually 2 Oscar, 3 Pacu, and a jaguar cichlid, and some little smaller fish. Now, this pond has some water hyacinth. That's the plants on top. I will have a link down in my description for all of the accessories and stuff that these ponds have, because a lot of this I made on my own, and I actually did a full DIY video setting up both of these ponds, and they absolutely blew up and did awesome. So if you're interested to see that and how to build something just like this, make sure you go check out my channel, and I'll have a link down in the description for those videos. But that's the fish tank. So this is the fish right over here, and this one houses my turtles. Now these are going to be pretty much impossible to see because it's impossible to see the fish, especially with the glare of the turtles. But this is my turtle pond. So you can see I have driftwood down there. I know there's leaves all over the place. It's because it's fall and it's starting to get cold, so I wanted to make this video. But yeah, this is my turtle tank. This is my fish tank. Now, both of these have filtration set up. I have this unhooked right now, and it's actually on solar, but it's a cloudy day, so it's not actually working. But I do have a filter that I have hooked up on this sometimes. But I'm gonna get now into the 5 things that you will need in order to have these ponds outdoors. Because I'm sure a lot of you guys, just like me, either have fish tanks inside, but you don't have the space maybe for something this big inside. And that was in my situation. I didn't have that, and I also wanted some outdoor ponds. So I set them up. So let's get into the 5 things that you'll need. All right, well, let's kind of go from top to bottom. Now, from top, this is a DIY filter that I made. This is out of a trash can. This is, I believe, a 20-gallon. Yeah, it's a 20-gallon trash can that I made myself. This is a full DIY setup. You will need something this big, like filtration-wise, to filter a pond of this size. Now, once I get a bigger pond, you'll obviously need to up your filtration. Maybe if I double the size, this is 300 gallons, that's a 20-gallon trash can. That's kind of overkill for this already, but I would say if you go to like a 600-gallon pond, go with like a 40-gallon trash can or 2 20-gallons. You're gonna need a lot of filtration is what I'm getting at. And the reason for it is water flow. So that's another point, but filtration is number 1. You need to have good filtration, especially when dipping into winter months, especially to clean up all the bioload and get all that stuff out, because you're not gonna be able to maintain your pond as much in the winter as you would in the summer, because we're gonna have this thing covered. All right, well, I just briefly mentioned it, but we're gonna talk about proper flow. Now, you'll see here, I have that nozzle kind of aimed this way, and I have that one aimed this way. And the reason for that is because the pond flows like this. Yes, in a circular motion. You want flow inside of your pond. If you don't have flow inside your pond, in the winter month, it could potentially freeze over. Even if you have a heater on it, if you don't have flow, it could freeze. So if you're in an area that gets super cold, like I am in Virginia, you do not want your pond to freeze. That would kill all your fish. So that'd be a really bad day. So filtration is key. I'm gonna talk about aeration here in a second, but you can see here all these bubbles on the surface and the waves kind of emitting from that is also another form of filtration or flow. Both. All right, well, as I just mentioned it, we're gonna talk about aeration. Now, you'll see all these bubbles, that's air, it's oxygen going into the water, and you'll need a lot of it. This is a pump from Aqua Miracle, who's actually today's sponsor, and we'll talk about them here in just a minute. But this right here is a 14,000 gallon per hour air pump. This pumps air into this tank and that tank, and it is way overkill. But overkill in this situation is a good thing. You need overkill. So, proper aeration is key. I highly encourage you, check the link down in my description. Go over to Aqua Miracle. These pumps are priced incredibly well. There are smaller pumps if you don't plan to get multiple enclosures or multiple tanks. You don't need something this big, obviously. But if you want to go get a air pump from Aqua Miracle, I highly recommend them. I've had this one hooked up now for about 6 months. Never had an issue with it, and it works amazing. So, highly encourage you. Check out Aqua Miracle. Thank you again for sponsoring today's video. They make pumps, heaters, everything we're going to talk about in today's video, they make it, so make sure you go check them out. All right, well, next up is our heaters. Now you'll see a little blue heater down there, and there's also one inside of that filter box. Now, you will need a ton of filtration, a ton of heating, and again, everything I'm doing in this is overkill because you do not want this pond to freeze over. I know that's probably why you clicked on today's video, especially in the winter months. You don't want this thing to freeze. I know I've probably said that 20 times, but that's the point of this video. So having proper heat is crucial. Now, one heater, even if it's a 1200 watt heater for a 300 gallon pond, is not gonna be enough. You need two. So you can get two 800 watt heaters, you can get two 1200 watt heaters. Again, links down in my description for each. If you want to get them from me, there is a link to Amazon where you can go get those yourself. But there's one inside that little box, and there's one inside that filter box as well. So that keeps both of my ponds. Again, I can set the temperatures. Both of them are set at about 80 degrees. And now if I jump over to here, to my turtle pond, you'll see here, I only have one of them hooked up, and today is not that cold. And you see there, it's only set on 76. I wanted to prove a point, so I took one of them off last night, and it got down to 76 degrees. That was the low. So it is early in the morning. It is gonna start heating up again, but I'm gonna go ahead and put another heater on this pond. And if I didn't do that, this would drip down dramatically in temperature. Dramatically, not drastically. It's not even a word. But you do need two heaters, absolutely, especially when you have turtles, just like Crush here. It's hard to see them, but you need heaters, so make sure you get two of them. Now, I encourage you, whenever you set up a heater, to set it a little bit higher than what you actually want it to. So this one's set at 83 degrees. I'm gonna set all four of my heaters to 83 degrees. If you want yours to set at like 80, again, it depends on the climate of where you're at, but if you want it to be in like the high 70s to like low 80s, set it a little bit higher than what you actually want it to, so your heater is always trying to heat. You don't want it to like hit that climax of like, say if you set it at like 80 degrees and it hits 80 degrees and then it shuts off. You want it to continuously start going throughout the day, because in the morning it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be a little bit colder than what you have it set to. And then as it goes throughout the day, it may warm up a little bit and it may hit that 80 degree mark, but it's not gonna go too much over that, especially in the winter. So make sure you have two heaters. Make sure you set them a couple degrees over what you actually want it, so that if it does end up going over, that's fine, and it has some room to go down during the nighttime. Because obviously during the day, like it is right now, it's gonna get warmer, and then as it gets darker out, it's gonna get colder. That's how it works. The last thing, which I don't even have on the ponds yet, but I'm gonna talk about it because I'm gonna be doing it very soon. I wanna go a couple more weeks without an actual top on this, but you will need styrofoam panels or styrofoam blocks, something to keep the heat in. Now, styrofoam does a really good job at holding heat and holding moisture inside. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the hardware store, not gonna do it in this video, but you can get styrofoam sheets from any local hardware store like Home Depot, Lowe's. You can get big long sheets. You can cut them out to fit around your filters, around where the water goes in. You can do all that kind of stuff, and you can form it to where you want it. Now, the problem I've done in the past, or ran into in the past, with ponds and doing styrofoam is obviously the styrofoam doesn't weigh that much. So what I do is I get a piece of 2x4, 2x6, just like that one right there. I get a really long sheet, and I run at least one across the middle. And then what I do, because styrofoam does not weigh like anything and it can easily just fly off, is I set something heavy on top of that. A lot of the times what I do is I just use some leftover soil or whatever that I have in a bag. In this case, I actually have a couple bags over here of some lava rock. So I'm gonna be setting the lava rock on top of the 2x4, 2x6 so that it holds weight down on the top. But you will need something in the middle to be able to support that. Otherwise, if I just set the lava rock on top of the styrofoam's gonna crack and the lava rock's gonna go into the pond. You don't want that. But you do need to have a cover on top of this for the winter. But that is the 5 things you will need in order to have a pond outside. Super easy, super simple, but you do need to make it happen. Again, we'll cover it one more time, just a quick, brief synopsis of what we already went over. Proper filtration, proper aeration, proper flow, proper heating, and then a proper cover. Again, you can do covers in all different kinds of things. You can use plexiglass, you can use, I don't even know, metal, I guess. But the reason why I like to use styrofoam panels or styrofoam blocks is because it holds heat in very well. And then it's super lightweight, so if you want to move it around, you can easily do so. But yeah, well, I hope you guys could take something away from that video. I know it was a quick and simple one, but I wanted to cover it because there was a couple like older videos on YouTube, but a lot of them were kind of like outdated information and not super accurate. But if you have any questions, again, drop them down in the description or in the comments section. I will be more than happy to answer them. But again, if you're new to my channel, my name is Barrett. I appreciate you watching here till the end. I do free monthly giveaways, so if you're interested in a pond, I do pond box, like waterfall pumps like that. I do free giveaways on stuff every single month. All you have to do is comment down below, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you're automatically entered to win. But I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, whatever time it is for you. I hope to see you in the next. Peace.